Doing versus being. One of the reasons people become dependent on external reality instead of creating their lives from within is because they emphasize doing, the effect, rather than being, the source. Okay? Beingness is the source, doing the effect. So as you shift your life from doing oriented to being oriented, everything improves. You see, most people's lives is all about what they're doing, what they have, what they own, and what they do. And those lives tend to be shallow and very frustrating. Let me give you an example. Right here, I'm in Switzerland on the eve of the reality creation retreat. And I've seen hundreds of tourists, okay, just walking around. And many of them don't look that happy. They look quite frustrated, actually, quite exhausted. Why is that? Well, you can see the conversation that's going on in their minds. That conversation goes something like this. Okay, first we're going to do that. Then we're going to go jet ski. Then we're going to go paragliding. And then we're going to visit this cultural site. And then we're going to do that. And then we're going to be happy. And then we're going to be in a better state. And then whatever. Okay? And the reason they look so frustrated and so disoriented is because their entire state and reality is dependent upon external actions, external events. And that's pretty much the same thing these tourists do when they're back home. Okay, they say, when I get this cup of coffee, when I meditate, when I get a pay raise, when I find this partner, when I do this, when I do that, I'm going to be stronger. I'm going to be more happy. I'm going to be fulfilled. And that's living the wrong way around. It's a reversal of the truth. The truth is that none of these activities, no activity whatsoever, no doing whatsoever, will make you happy, will make you fulfilled. No external reality will make you happy or fulfilled. Happiness is something that comes from within, from inside, from your being. So, in the example of tourism, you'd wake up in the morning and before deciding what to do or not to do, you'd take care of your state and make sure you feel good. Make sure you feel right before this activity is done, before you get the money, before you drink the coffee, before you go to the seminar, and so forth and so on. So rather than seeking happiness, you'd come from happiness. And that radically changes your entire day. You'd be bringing happiness into the activities you do, be it paragliding or jet skiing or going to work or working on a project or writing something or visiting someone. You'd bring happiness to that person instead of expecting happiness from them. And what then happens is that these activities, not only do you choose better activities when you're coming from a strong and happy state, okay, your perception is filtered to better activities, but these activities add onto your already existing happiness. You see, if you're drinking a cup of coffee, expecting that coffee to make you feel better, it might give you a temporary kick, but right after that you'll start feeling exhausted again and looking for the next external thing to give you that kick. Maybe some sugar, maybe some TV, maybe a movie. Whereas if you're awake and happy to begin with, then drinking that coffee will add to your happiness. You'll appreciate it in a different way because you're not dependent on it. You'll appreciate your partner in a different way because you're not dependent on him or her. Do you see what I'm saying? So the idea here is to, throughout your life, move away from this fixation on doing, on what are we going to do, what do I do next, what should I do to make money, and so forth, to being. How do I, and being is basically two things. It's awareness and imagination. Okay, it's questions such as, how do I feel in my space right now, in my body, in my being? And it also has to do with putting your awareness to the here and now and being okay with what is as it is without needing some stimuli or entertainment or activity to push you up. So even just the ability to sit in silence for 5 minutes a day will increase your sense of beingness. And with that, your sense of happiness, and with that, your sense of success, and so forth and so on. And the other aspect is imagination. So awareness is one part, and imagination would be, the question, who would I like to be today? Who do I want to be? In fact, let's try this out. Choose something in your day that you think is going to make you happy. So your conversation in your mind is, if I do this, I'll feel better. If I meditate, I'll feel better. If I get the money, I'll feel better. If I go to work, I'll feel better. If I stay home, I'll feel better. What do you think is going to make you feel better? And as you imagine that, can you feel the dependence you have there on something external? It's like a drug addiction. Do you really think the source of energy is that person, or that sex, or that money, or that coffee, or that internet? Now, just for a moment, in your mind and on the out-breath, let go of the idea that that's going to make you happy. Just let go of it, breathe it out, and see if you can find wholeness in the now, peace in the now. You're taking a deep breath in, relaxing on the out-breath, opening your eyes a little bit wider and becoming more fascinated with what is right now. Suddenly hearing the sounds in your environment, suddenly realizing that the here and now is quite interesting in itself. Don't you know that if you constantly want to be somewhere else, it's because you think the here and now is boring? And if you think the here and now is boring, you're not seeing it as it really is, because the here and now is quite amazing. There's quite a lot to perceive and feel and learn in the now. Most people, there's scientific studies, most people would rather get electroshocks than sit silently without doing anything for a couple of minutes. Because what happens when you do that is you realize you've been living a lie. You've been living your whole life based on doing. Now, I have nothing against doing. Doing is great. You're a physical being. You should be doing. Okay? I love sports. I love activities. I love learning. But my doing is not cause. My doing comes from my being. Okay? So first, I am. And I correct my inner state through my imagination, and then I do. So right now, go back to what you imagined would make you happy, and in your imagination, see if you can bring that into the here and now as if you're already experiencing that, or as if it's already happened. See if you can bring that state that you're seeking externally into the now, into the inside. So let's say you thought sex will make you happy, or chocolate, or whatever. Try to bring that sensation into the now. And feel the relief of already having it, already doing it. And if you can imagine that you already have it, something interesting happens. You no longer need it externally because you're already happy. And paradoxically, by no longer needing it, you more easily attract it. Because if you're already whole and complete to begin with, and don't need anything, you attract evidence, magnetically attract evidence of your wholeness and your abundance and your completeness. The tragedy of life is that whatever you desperately need, you never get. You never get that satisfaction because neediness is what separates you from the thing you supposedly need. And as long as you're making something external your God, you're going to feel bad. You're going to feel fear, agitation, anger, frustration. And you should feel that way because you're making something outside of yourself the center of the universe. You're making a certain person or an object or money or whatever the center. And that's the ultimate, speaking in religious terms, that would be the ultimate sin, actually. Making something other than Source your God. It's like worshiping money or worshiping a person or worshiping objects. And that's what makes you unhappy. So once you really get this and get what this means, you're no longer going to be a seeker, you're going to be a player. You're no longer going to seek happiness outside of yourself or the truth somewhere out there. The truth is not out there, it's in here. If you just take a moment to feel my state as I talk to you, you can tell that I'm whole and complete as I am, right here, right now, on this chair. I'm not looking for something to make me whole and complete. And that puts me in a position of great power. You see? I'm not waiting on somebody's email or somebody's confirmation or somebody's approval or somebody's participation or whatever to make me happy. Can you feel the power inherent in that? If you'd like to learn more powerful techniques to expand your sense of being and creativity and inner ability, I recommend my reality creation and manifestation video course, which is available at realitycreation.org, my website. My name is Fred Dodson. Thank you very much.